Hi guys, we're here with Luke Howard, who's from Music in the Sky. What a really fascinating show that you've put together. Luke, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
It's a pleasure, Richard. Thanks for having me.
Now, Music in the Sky sounds fascinating. It's a combination of music, live music played, along with projections and dancing as well. So can you tell me a bit more about the show?
I'm mostly across the musical side. As Keith, the producer, has been focusing on actually on the music, but also on the visuals and dancing. But it's a music selected both from, I guess, the sort of current contemporary neoclassical scene, which is music such as the music I write, and also Max Richter and Jörg Beving and Johan Johansson. So like the real kind of the heavies in that scene, and also some old stuff, some Debussy and Eric Satie as well. I think there's a couple of other real classical or core classical pieces of music. So actually, it's not that common to combine the two genres, to be honest. And it's also not that common for me to get my music, placed in a program with other composers, either living or dead. So that's really nice from my perspective. And also wearing my piano playing hat, I'm just going to be, tinkling the proverbial ivories for.
Oh, that's great. It's got to be exciting though, having your own music on full display with such an amazing backdrop of talent and projections.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to hear it sort of maybe recontextualized a bit, and also play with slightly different ensembles to that which pieces were originally written for, and also I think, just to be honest, doing a few gigs in a row of the same material is such a rare. It's kind of rare anyway, to like unless you're touring all the time, but it's particularly rare in this time. So, I think by the last show, not saying that you should only buy tickets for the last show, but by the last show, it'll be really kind of beautiful and together, and that's a really nice opportunity, rather than that kind of putting all that work in, and you just got one gig, and then like maybe you'd never do that complete program again.
Well, I think I find that with a lot of theatre, no matter what it is, every single show seems to be different. There's always something that slightly changes or tempos change. I have people who come and see shows that I do multiple occasions and always walk away with a different experience. So I imagine it would be a little bit similar.
Yeah. Look, there's definitely ensembles I play with that we've played with for 10 years, and it's different every time. But we don't. It's not like the same experience of playing that you might have in a theatre show, playing like night after, a few shows in a row, when you really have that, you have that real sense of how last night's show was, and like, is the next one going to be a bit different, or yeah. So I think that'll be, in a way, this is a bit more like that kind of thing of having a few shows in the same city in a row. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So what can audiences expect from the show?
Look, the one thing about this sort of genre of classical music is that it is quite easy. I know accessible can be a bit of a dirty word, but it's it's, let's say, an entry. It has a entry point for people who are both fans of music and of this kind of music, and those that aren't. Look, I think, and it's kind of structured around. Structured around the sort of the arc of the day and light and stuff. So I feel there'll be a kind of, nice sort of emotional journey and arc in it, and you get to hear some music that I really like. I can't speak to the audience, but I have found, having been making music in this particular sort of branch of the classical world the last 10 years or so, it does tend to be well received. It tends to connect well, perhaps, than perhaps some other branches of the classical world do.
Well, I find when people enjoy what they're working on, it translates to the performance, and it translates to the audiences, and they then start really enjoying it. So I know you've been more on the music side of this, but what sort of challenges are there to bring so many elements together for a production like this?
Part of it is just simply getting all the doing the arranging, which Neil is doing. I've kind of, mostly because of my time, / laziness. I've kind of, but so all of my pieces are written for generally for string, solo piano for strings, and the ensemble we have is with clarinet, so as well as some string instruments. So there's a bit of creative license to reorchestrate that stuff. I mean, one challenge for me is simply learning some of the classical, like the Debussy and Satie works, because I kind of just play my own music, and my technique on the piano is kind of atrophied to the point that it can only play my own music. So even playing, learning this Debussy piece, which is not that difficult, but if you're not practicing, I wouldn't want to be sight reading it on the gig. Let's just say that it needs actually do some proper work in the practice room, because otherwise it's it's kind of disrespectful to the music and to people that actually play classical music for a living. And then, I mean, the other thing is just simply, which is I haven't had to do, but this part, but simply just getting the music for like the contemporary classical music, like stuff from Max Richter and such, can be hard to find. You're not going to find it in a music shop. It usually requires a bit more kind of, effort and negotiating and licensing and stuff to even just get to play that. So there's a fair bit of organizational work just to have the actual dots sitting on the music stands.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine. Well, the show's on. It looks like 2 days and 4 shows across those 2 days. That's the 29th and 30th of May, and it's playing at the Roundhouse at the University of New South Wales. Have you performed in that venue before?
I have not. I'm familiar with the Roundhouse in Camden in London, which is great and round, and I don't know what this is like. I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, look, Luke, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Really hope the show goes well and everyone gets along to see it. So, guys, if you check out the Stage Center app, you will see Music in the Sky on there. It sounds like it's going to be a really spectacular show to go and watch. So I highly recommend you get along. Thanks again, Luke, and we'll see you all another time.
Cheers.
Bye for now.
Bye.